The Iranian protests. Tuesday, December 19th, Tehran has announced a new austerity regime that will hit the poorest members of society the hardest. Despite warnings from his economic advisors that large sections of society would implode, President Rouhani increased the price of fuel by a massive 50% and cancelled financial support for over 34 million Iranians. At the same time, it was announced that military spending was to be increased, with most of the money going to the IRGC. Even the information-starved Iranian population understands the IRGC operates beyond Iranian frontiers, supporting Houthi militias, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and over 70 militias in Iraq and Assad in Syria. Poverty-pressed people in many regions began to protest, voicing primarily economic demands. However, the protesters switched to demands for political change, with the protesters asking, how can Rouhani leave 54 million Iranians in poverty yet spend even more money on foreign military campaigns? Wednesday, December 27th. Iranians held small-scale demonstrations in Mashhad, the capital of Khorasan Rizvi province, asking the government to repeal its new austerity measures. Protesters were violently crushed. But the next day, instead of disbanding, the protest grew, with thousands more joining the demonstrations against the regime's austerity. Eventually, Iranian students and the middle classes joined the protests too. The demonstrators were now more focused on changing the regime's foreign policies than the austerity used to fund them. One slogan of dissent chanted by all of the protesters: "Neither Gaza nor Lebanon, my soul is searching for the redemption of Iran." Rouhani is holding firm. The clerics of Mashhad call for firm suppression of the protests. Security forces use tear gas to clear the streets. Hundreds of protesters are under arrest. Violence against them is commonplace. Yet still the protest grows and spreads to more and more provinces. Outside of Iran, we can only offer support and encouragement to these fearless, unarmed protesters challenging Tehran's totalitarian rule of oppression and suppression, and hope that freedom and self-determination will grow from their efforts.